call the meeting to order. If we could please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So, my name is Zachary Karen. I'm the chairman of the board. Nicole Skousen is our office manager. We have Greg Logan, the vice chair. Jason Quinn, the clerk, Michelle Lima, and Peter Karen, who are both voting members as well. We're going to go right along in order today. So we're starting with review, discuss, and act case 4-19-2022 Somerset Ave. They're looking for a variance to construct a single-family home request in a commercial mixed-use zone, and the previous home was raised by the town. So before we begin, Jonathan Gale was one of the voting members on this case, but he is not able to make it tonight. So Michelle, we did appoint you as an alternate. Is that correct?
No, I was already voting.
You are already a voting member?
Yeah.
So who are the voting members then for this case?
It was you, Jonathan, and myself.
Okay, so we do need to appoint someone new to replace Jonathan. So Jason, if you don't mind picking someone else.
No, it's gotta be Greg.
It's gonna be Greg. Okay, yep.
I'll pick Jason Quinn.
No, Jason wasn't here,
Okay.
so it's gotta be you.
It's gonna be you.
Great.
It can be him and I, because him and I can't be on the same case, so.
Okay, great.
Hey, guess what? You.
Yeah. That was easy. Wish it was all that easy.
So make a motion, who's ever on the case, to vote to make Greg Logan the substitute, and then it should be seconded by somebody on the case.
Okay, so I'll make a motion that we replace Jonathan Gale as voting member on this case with Greg Logan.
I second that.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. All right, so for this case, we could, if we just have the applicant, if they don't mind, just signing the extension for us. So that'd be Mr. Lopes.
So just right there? It's just the extension of the case.
Oh, yeah, yep.
Just before we start discussing this case, excuse me. Jim Aguirre, we have an email correspondence with him regarding the water runoff. This was a question that was raised by us and abutters as well. So this is dated August 8th of this year to Nicole, the office manager, CC'd myself, and then it's regarding the water runoff question 2022 Somerset Ave. Jim says, most single-family homes are exempt from the stormwater permitting due to the limited disturbance area unless less than 35,000 square feet. However, the Stormwater Committee has decided to review all single lot permit applications regardless of the applicability of a stormwater permit triggering mechanism. This will allow the committee to address any potential concerns and/or address site plans that may alter existing conditions. More importantly, this process may address potential concerns brought on by abutters attending your scheduled hearing meeting. I would recommend implementing an SOP that involves the input of the Stormwater Committee. If the ZBA so chooses, please email this thread to Roslyn Grossi. That will trigger a review and/or action by the committee at their next meeting, and it's signed Jim Aguirre, the building official. So have we all had a chance to drive by and look at the property? I know you were intending on voting, but I'm sure you did take a look.
Yep.
Do you guys have any concerns that, or any?
Well, last time we talked, we were trying to find out if they could find out the people that own the property behind it. I don't know if you had any luck with that.
No, we didn't. So what the Lopes decided to do was just cut the garage back based on
Do you have an idea of set footprint of what the garage is gonna be now, or?
so what I did is I calculated
How far back, and this is, I talked to the building inspector about it, he said just get it beyond the line, so I came a foot off. So it's a foot here and a little more there. So he's gonna take off 3.5 by 39.
And that's gonna be a new garage?
No, it's existing, he's just gonna cut it back so that it's on the
Okay, so I
property.
don't have to ask for the relief for that, right. That was one of them, and the other one was the concern of obviously the water runoff on the
Right,
top.
so I propose a dry well, tying the roof drains into it.
So, it has been brought to our attention, that James Aguirre, who's the building commissioner, does he own the property still?
No, Mr. Lopes does.
You are, and then, do you mind if I ask how long ago, that, he sent over the property to you?
Yeah, well,
I'm sorry? So, okay, so that's what we were trying to figure out, so if we realized that the abutting property, the one that the shed is on, has, Jim Aguirre is an owner of it, which isn't an issue, of course, but, that is one thing that was just brought to our attention, so we didn't know, so you guys weren't aware that he owned that property?
No, we didn't know.
Does anybody here, as a voting member, think that's a concern to them? I mean, I haven't discussed, I don't know, I haven't discussed this with him outside of the meeting, so.
No, it doesn't matter who owns
No,
it.
I don't have a problem with that. The only thing, like I remember the abutters were concerned was the water runoff. Obviously, that was an existing house. The footprint of the house is not getting, it's not larger than the existing house. Are we increasing the value of the existing house to a bigger home now? Is that what we did?
I don't know what the size of the existing home was in this area right here.
Can I see that going from there?
The only thing with Jim that I was finding out for that was they were not notified because we didn't have them on file as to who owned the property. That's why I didn't.
That's
and
what all-
and that's most of the reason why we postponed this case is that we didn't we couldn't vote on something if an abutter was not notified. So. So we don't know at all where that property was? I'm sorry, where the house was?
That house was here before.
But we don't know that any kind of the footprint though.
I'm gonna say the house was probably 36 by 28. It wasn't a big house.
Wasn't it like a cake or something?
Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't very big.
Because you can see pictures
And
of
he's
it.
proposing to put a
on those
50-foot,
Older pictures.
36, so it's 20%. But I mean,
No, but I did,
setback.
so I was able to see
You guys
what
know?
was there before. Mr. Chairman and the board, I
Oh,
wanted
no,
to.
their house was on the 1950 one.
I wanted to let the board know that after our last meeting, I did reach out to the assessors, the property back there. It was not on our original assessors list. They have been having problems with Map Geo.
Map Geo, yeah.
Some pages in there. Sorry. And they continued with it. I did send a certified mailing for tonight's meeting. The mailing did come back unreceived. The address was listed under Hermano and Maria de Silvia, 1950 Somerset Ave, and it was unclaimed, unable to forward.
Do you guys know them? Who still is? The fact that it came back to us unsigned, so there must be some issue with them receiving it. So
But he is taking any question or concern off of it now.
right now that they're moving the shed or a barn, that really isn't an issue. I guess at that point it'd just be their opinion as to. But we did our due diligence to reach out to them. We haven't heard back, and we can't do anything else at that point.
So is the stormwater company, committee actually seen that drawing with the dry well now?
I don't believe so. I think Jim just said that in his email that if we are going to vote this in tonight, that we put a condition on it that they do go before stormwater just to get any kind of feedback from them, which, I mean, isn't something we typically do. I mean, once in a while, but in a case like this, if we have abutters that's their concern, and Jim seems it's best to reach out to them. What do you guys think about that condition if you vote this in?
I don't see a reason for it.
You don't see a reason for
I
it?
believe he's got it, he's proposed.
He's addressed it.
Yeah,
There was a concern.
he put it in his actual drawing.
I'm sorry?
He actually put it in the drawing now,
Right.
so if he was to make this in as part of the application, he'd have to do the dry well.
Right.
He's meeting all the other setbacks.
Okay, is there any more discussion or any other questions for the applicant before we go on? Or take this? No? Okay, so do I have a motion to either approve or deny, this variance?
Yes, you have a motion to either approve or deny this. Do I?
No, you gotta pick one.
You
Oh, I have to, oh,
you pick one.
I make a motion to approve this variance.
Is there a second? I'll second. Is there any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. So you guys are all set? It's been approved.
This drawing's gonna be submitted.
Yep,
into-
so we are gonna submit this into our record. We do have to have, the attorney write the decision
Okay.
on the case, just so you guys know. We'll reach out to them, that's all.
That stays with us.
Yeah, yeah, we need to enter that into the record, thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
I didn't do that.
You up?
Microphone off.
Good, look, I made a good noise for you.
All right, up next, review, discuss, and act, case 5190 Brook Street. This was just a reminder to, construct a single-family home request on a non-conforming lot, and a request to waive setbacks and shape requirements. And before we begin, Mr. Roddick, would you mind signing the extension for us, please?
You guys got a chance to go out there and take a look at it?
I did,
You guys?
It's right there, broken out.
a couple
Sure,
times.
you-
I Bob, every single day, 3 times a day.
Yeah, you can't really see the stakes anymore.
Yeah, Joel's starting to grow anyway.
I talk to the squirrel every single
We've had no new input
We're better now.
in this case, right?
Like the one that runs on the ball field. Did you do that?
A document from Charlie?
Yes.
Awesome, thank you.
So Nicole reached out to Charles Mello, who is the chair of the Conservation Committee. She was forwarding him the enforcement order on the Conservation Committee to Tony Roddick regarding 0 Brook Street. See the attached document will be included in your August 21st meeting packet. And he says, and he just attached it, and then he said he'd deliver it, so we now have that, and it should be in your packets.
Yep, it is.
How are we feeling about this case?
Yeah.
So this was started last month?
Yes.
And I wasn't here.
Correct.
So I don't want to bore everybody or repeat anything, but quick synopsis, maybe?
Yeah, what he had was, he's proposing to put a house, do we have a drawing on that?
Yep.
He's proposing to put a house, and he's looking for some relief on the setback off one of the property lines. He's moving it more towards the street to stay away from the vernal pool.
Okay.
I believe one of the concerns with the butter had was the water runoff where it might be going onto his property. It might have to be. So, the proposed house that was there, used to be here, there's an actual foundation.
Yeah.
He's proposing to put the house back here with a 20-foot setback here, but it's not meeting the setback for the street.
Okay.
The neighbor's house has 11 across the street in the corner.
Yep.
So that part is what he was bringing up on that. The topo of the property, he was gonna make sure that this topography was running away from the property, not running onto the, and bringing it back here off to the wetland, so it wouldn't be flooding the road, because there is a flood concern. Yeah.
Right here,
right
Chase
here,
Street.
Exactly,
Mhm.
that was a couple of the concerns they had of the property, pretty much in a nutshell.
And who are the voting members on this one?
We wouldn't,
I think it was me, some, I don't know,
It was,
myself, and then,
it was Jonathan, Zach, and you.
okay.
so,
How's that gonna go now?
No, we already voted
Yep.
Michelle in
Okay,
as
so
the
she's all
alternate.
set.
Okay.
The last meeting when Jonathan said he might not be here.
That's right.
Okay, good. So it's Zach, Greg,
Yeah.
Michelle.
Mhm.
Any follow-up questions?
are there any abutters that wish to be heard tonight that have anything different they would like to, or,
No, you can't do that.
No.
we can't go to abutters?
Oh, today's.
No, you already closed the
Yeah,
public
we
hearing.
So like I said, the concern they had was the water runoff to the properties.
I mean, personally, I think the lot is too small to put a house there. I mean, obviously it is, but I personally don't know if it, I mean, it's my opinion that it wouldn't fit with the rest of the neighborhood, but that's just my opinion.
my biggest concern as a non-voting member is the runoff. Yes, he's keeping it off of here, but he's running it to Brook and out on the Elm, and we have an issue down here on the Chase.
He was
Already,
gonna,
yeah.
he was gonna build an up system here and keep the water, try to divert the water from Elm and Brook. Upbuild this section of the driveway over here. He's gonna swale it towards this way.
Oh, okay, back in towards the, is that wetlands? So the wetlands is
Is that whole circle?
that whole circle.
Yeah, and that's,
Technically, even the
and that's
street
partial,
too.
that's part of the enforcement order that came from Charlie Mellon.
Yeah. So now Charlie, if it goes to us, he's gotta go to conservation.
I was just saying, it's Concom looked at this, and
Mhm.
he's actually in the
Yes.
wetlands per se,
So what he's asking for us for relief is setbacks.
setbacks only, okay.
And, well, a lot of the concerns that I do remember hearing was water runoff. Obviously, we know we have a water issue on that section.
Yeah.
Um,
What are you feeling, Greg?
I'm not opposed to putting a home there because I know the different homes around the area are close to the road like that. For what we have to hear, I mean, his biggest hurdle is gonna be conservation in that matter. We're dealing with all the other stuff. But for what we have to look at, I've seen worse in that particular area, you know?
This was a property that was auctioned off by the town, correct? When this was bought?
Not even sure.
Yeah.
I think it was a tax taking.
Yeah.
Here's what?
Tax taking. The Elysians let it go because they couldn't do anything
Couldn't
with
do
it.
anything with it, yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
Okay.
So it was owned by the town, and then they sold it off.
And this gentleman over here, he was concerned with where the water was gonna go.
Yeah.
This property over here and how it was gonna affect his land. And,
But with the proposal that he has now, it shouldn't.
no, the reason why, was it Mr. Berry? Bob Berry? Yeah. He was here representing him on the matter of the topography of the land. And the topography of the land was one of the concerns everybody had, even I did, was how we're gonna keep the water from going on the road. Obviously, we can't promise it's never going to, but, you know, Mr. Roderick said that he was gonna run the water this way, and then that abutter was concerned about where it's gonna come to his wetlands and how much it's gonna fill. Obviously, we know we have a problem over on Chase Street flooding, I've seen it myself.
Yep.
But they were gonna do the uplift septic system, because he has to be above the water table anyways over here, so it's gonna be an up system going across here.
Hence why I was bringing in the fill.
Another concern that someone had stated was how high is the system gonna be due to a car pulling out here and making a corner.
Mm.
It was promised that the way that the part of the land goes down, it would be swelling to the back with the water. That's all I remember on that case. I
So,
really don't know.
so the wetlands then aren't as much as a factor for your decision because they'll have to go through conservation committee
Yeah, I
anyway?
don't,
Wetlands shouldn't be a factor in
Yeah.
on our
It's
So,
zoning
decides.
It's just the,
It's what
Which
Mr.
one
Roderick
he
had,
has,
what he's in front
it's-
of us for is the setbacks.
This
It's a
20-foot
20-foot setback.
Yeah.
What's it do to the neighborhood? I know there's one across the street that's 11 feet, but what's it do
That's
to
the
everybody
side,
else?
though.
Yeah.
That's the side of the house, not the front, though.
Right,
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
this is the entrance to the home.
Yeah.
So what I don't know who did this, Bob, so Proline, he did the setback showing it's 11 feet, that is not the front of the house. Then there's another house over here, and there's some houses built in the back.
They're all-
Everyone
they're all-
else's houses
they're far
are
enough
away
back.
from the
Yeah.
road in
Right.
this particular area.
So how much does it change the characteristics of the neighborhood by putting a house so close to the road?
I mean, I personally thought it looked like it was gonna be tight, but, I mean, Jason, you drive that way every single day, I mean, as someone who goes there, you know, every single day, what do you think?
You would definitely notice it, in my opinion. It'd be pretty close.
Because
I
he's
mean,
not gonna be able to do nothing over here.
Right. Be kind
Yeah,
of sitting
that's
by
the
itself.
only, that's the only, yeah. the
It would be
only-
kind of sitting by itself.
Exactly. If it was this and this, I'd say,
I'm just trying to think of how far am I from here to here. I'm just thinking sight lines coming down Brook, because cars do come up Elm to make the left on the Brook.
Correct.
That is,
Yeah, but when you go there, the stakes that are there, they're not that close
oh
to
no.
no,
Elm.
okay.
That's gonna be
Yeah.
that's gonna be his leaching field,
Right.
septic system, all that stuff.
Yeah.
And the topography of the land, which I'm sure we can put a condition in it if we do pass
For,
that it would have to be deferred to the back of the property towards this way, because down here is the river. The one major concern we had was this gentleman over here was really concerned about the back of his property, which he knows his property's lived there long enough.
Yeah.
How the water was gonna actually affect his land. And, then Mr. Berry got up and stated a few comments, stating how the topography of the land, where he was gonna run it off and things like that. Because one of my concerns was, how high is that gonna be? You know, and we were told it was pretty much gonna be street level going back, and if you really look at the property, it does go down the hill.
So this setback here on the side, I mean, obviously it's not 15 feet.
Right.
This, do we know how, I mean, it's two different really setbacks, the front of the house versus the.
Yeah, so like.
It's a
this
side
is the
setback of
side, and
11
that's
feet
the
on
window.
Brook,
There's
but-
like, there's windows all
Yeah.
over here.
He's
Yeah,
asking
yeah.
for 30 feet of relief here, and this guy would only be asking for 4.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
kind of splitting hairs a little bit,
Yeah.
but,
And this was, I remember the design of the house. It was was it single?
Yeah, it was a single-family home.
No, but a single level, or was it
I
a,
don't
was
remember.
it a, oh, we came after.
I have-
30 feet of relief
Oh, you
is a
got it?
lot,
Okay.
especially in a lot that he knew he was getting into, honestly. That would be my only,
It's never a buildable lot.
that's
to
the,
begin with, yeah.
yeah. That would be my only concern is I'm not voting on it, but it was never really a buildable lot and they knew that going in. And
The engineer and the building inspector right here.
So there was a residential development.
Oh, I didn't even see you two
We
guys
can't,
here.
we can't ask him, so
That's all
we
right.
can't, the public hearing's closed.
It doesn't have a drawing of the house.
No drawing?
there's no,
I know.
can't use them as,
There was talk of a
They could say that.
3-bedroom.
3-bed.
They said-
probably, it's not, that's their due diligence problem there.
I mean, that's,
Did you say what it is or no?
No,
I'm sorry?
It
Did you
says
say
here,
what it
26 by 36,
Yeah.
single-family on an existing. Was a 3 or 4 bedroom, you know, system's always gonna be up one anyways. But like I stated before about this particular piece, and my thought was, is where the zoning department, we're looking for reliefs or setbacks. We really can't talk about the conservation part. for
No.
the most part. We could take into some consideration
yeah.
for the abutters.
but if we're looking at what we look at when we grant a variance, I mean, it's not a buildable lot.
Mm.
Well, it
Well,
had an old foundation, so what was
It
there
did,
before?
it did have.
Yeah,
some
but that was a
type of-
foundation from the barn, right?
Was
I'm
it?
not sure.
Okay.
Right,
Well
not a
before my
house.
time.
Right, I didn't know what that was. Because it has a stone wall.
So there
and it
was a
has
structure on it,
a
whether it was a
foundation.
house, barn. And so, he's really looking for that.
That 30 feet.
Yeah.
And this is the actual shape of the lot, right?
Yes.
Yes.
The pork chop.
And that's
Yeah.
that's the only spot that it
And we're trying to stay away from the pork chop lots. I know we've done that a lot.
Yeah.
We have passed pork chop lots in the past.
So even if we, so we have 19 here. 20, 40, I mean, even if we had the 50 foot from the frontage, he'd still be, the front of his house would be here, and be on the other person's property. That's,
Now, is it 50 feet from the center of the road or 50 feet from the property
From
line?
the center of the
From the center
road.
of
So we're at 20 feet of the edge of the property.
okay, so we're,
So we're almost 40.
yeah.
to me, that's, I mean, I know you said that's, you know, I mean, Jason, you still think that even though you would notice it, you still consider it within the characteristic of the neighborhood?
No, I wouldn't.
I personally don't either. I mean,
That's just my opinion.
Michelle, do you have any more comments or questions before? Greg, anything else?
Pretty much, like I say, I know we've worked in this area with the water. That was the biggest concern that I had, trying to figure out. Mr. Barrowby did explain how it was going to run off. The relief setbacks, it looks like what I'm seeing here is almost, what's that say, 37 feet center of the road.
Yeah.
I mean, not the water runoff right now isn't so much as many as it was before. Now it's just a matter of, I think it's just, with the rest of the neighborhood, it's not a buildable lot. I mean, this is a significant, it's not like, oh, it's a, 1 or 2 feet that we're looking at. This is a pretty significant, setback that we'd be giving them.
Is there any houses up here that are a bit closer to the road too? I don't think so. I think they're all
One, if you go up over the hill,
Yeah.
past the cemetery, that one on the left there, well, if you're coming down, it's on the right-hand
Like-
side, right before the cemetery.
Personally, to me, it's
Yeah.
it's the houses on Brook Street that I'm more. I mean, if we're talking past the cemetery, that's in my opinion, that's enough of a distance away that I consider this to be more in this neighborhood, but that's just how I'm looking at it. But I do understand what you're saying.
Because there is a older home here that's set way off,
Mhm.
or a barn. And then the ran down house, and then there's that piece of property here.
We have that one right across from, is that Chase? That
It's
they
a
always
new,
have the
a
cars
new
parked
house,
in
right?
front of it. No, it's an older house and
Oh, right there at the corner of Chase and Hill?
it's not that one, it's across the street from it, so it's before the
Yeah,
cemetery.
that one
when
has a
you're coming,
close setback too in the corner to the road.
when you're coming like from Elm and you're not turning at Brook, you're just going like 2 houses afterwards, it's right there. It always has the cars in front, it always has the Jeeps in front of it, like picking up, I don't know what they're doing at like 5:15 every day.
Scary part is a little about the water,
But
but I mean, that's
that
really.
one's definitely not.
And the thing is even trying to bring this way,
I'm sorry, bring what?
even if he tried to bring this
Mhm.
more here, he doesn't have the room for the leaching field.
No, I
That's
know.
his
It's
concern.
literally the only way that it would work.
Right.
I mean-
Originally, I thought if it went something like that, that's not.
I mean, I'm definitely all for, trying to do what we can to obviously help out the resident, but in my opinion, for me, it's just too drastic of a difference.
Who owns this here?
Somerset, I believe.
Who, I'm sorry?
Somerset.
Somerset owns that? So then they can't do anything with that.
That's it?
No, I've seen it, but,
What are your thoughts, Peter? Anything on that one?
I don't live in the neighborhood. I'd like to see it more than 20 feet from the road. Especially, I thought this dwelling over here, that the 11 feet was the front of the house. Now that you're saying it's the side view.
I believe there's a driveway behind the house goes
There
to
is,
it.
yeah.
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 But I don't know where the person there gets their mail, whether it's Brook Street.
It's not really a pork chop lot because they're not taking frontage from over here
They
and
utilize the
blocking
top.
somebody else. I mean, it is the pork
The
chop
shape of one,
but it's
but
not the typical pork chop lot that we get.
Hockey stick.
Yeah.
Where it's a house behind another house. It's taking the water aside. Again, conservation will hear that aspect of it. It's just, is 20 feet or 30 feet enough? The road is not very wide there. It's not a typical road. Is it enough to change the characteristics of the neighborhood? You get saying it's gonna stand out, there's nothing wrong with the house standing out, but if you're just giving it 20 feet of setback, is that enough to not allow it? Most of the cases that we hear are frontages.
I know.
Yeah.
Trying to get a visual of 20 feet. I'm just kind of looking at the wall over there.
Yeah.
We're close to 20 feet here.
And that's the thing, it's not a wide road, and it's,
That was that thing.
Huh?
If he could change it, so the front, but he can't do that because this is. his
correct,
leaching
he
field.
wouldn't, he
Right.
wouldn't have it right.
Yeah.
He wouldn't have enough room for the leaching field
Yeah.
or septic if he did
Yeah,
that.
no,
That-
yeah.
That's why it is where it is. I mean, I understand why it's there. I mean, I'm not questioning that,
The
but
height of the leaching field, when you come into Brook Street, into Elm Street, is it gonna interfere with traffic at all?
Well, I know we can't ask Mr. Barrett, but when we talked about the topo of the land, he was trying to keep that down to the actual start of grade.
Yep.
If maybe a slight little hump there, just a little bit, and that's where the problem became, where we thought maybe it would get water on the road. So they're trying to, the bottom line is wherever it states for that, where the bottom of the water table might be,
Yep.
he has to be above that, so that's where it
The
states.
bottom
But
of
the
it.
topography of the land, from the last time I remember hearing about it, and if you drive by, you can see it, it does slope down, so
Right.
it would be running away from the road. Because that was my concern, we're gonna have something this high
Yep.
right at the road, and they said
Yep.
no.
Were there any abutters as opposed to the frontage, not the frontage, the
wasn't the
setback,
frontage as
or was
much-
it just the water?
I wanna say, I'm not speaking for the board, but I wanna say it was mainly about how, first off, we're within a wet zone, a conservation situation, which is really not us. But at the same note, we're in that area, for one.
Yeah.
And two, was how the water does run on that property already to
Right.
the abutter's property now.
So there were
How's
no
it gonna
abutters
make-
opposed to this, the 20 feet setback?
I don't,
Nicole,
I
do
don't,
you
I don't,
remember?
I don't remember that
do
being.
we have any minutes?
We do, they're right
Yeah.
here.
I don't remember seeing
It's-
anybody.
We have the
The gentleman?
water runoff, right?
Right.
And then we have, where is he getting his water from?
Right.
Mhm.
Let's see, and then there was a flood zone question.
Yep.
Mhm.
And then, that's just the setback
Oh.
from center of the road. And that was really, those were really the top concerns.
Yeah, so it was more of the gentleman with the water running
Right.
into his property, because it does get wet now.
Right.
So
And then
he was
just one
concerned.
person said the neighboring house is 11 feet from the house.
11 feet
From the road.
I mean, from the
Yeah.
house to property line.
And I believe there's a stone wall there too, right?
There is.
And it
There is,
sits up
yeah.
above that,
There
yeah.
is, yeah.
That's one thing that we gotta take into consideration, if that's the primary, if, like I said, we don't, well, aside from Jason, essentially, don't live in the neighborhood.
Mm.
And if that was their primary concern, was a water runoff, and they were like, man, it doesn't matter to me as long as the water's not getting on my property,
And that's the
that
thing.
seems to be resolved.
Now, that was only on the septic system. The big hurdle that they're gonna have obviously is conservation.
But that, again,
That
that's,
has nothing to do
that's
with
up
us,
to them at
and
that point,
that's
I
when
mean, we
they're gonna
can't.
see whether the house goes. So, for what I saw and for what I was understanding from Mr. Barrady was that the septic system wasn't gonna be raised on that corner. It was gonna be almost at grade, and the house relief was what he was looking for a setback.
Right.
That's all.
There's for some reason why the town didn't have it as a buildable lot. And that's because it just wasn't enough
Frontage.
frontage.
Right.
I mean, not frontage,
Square
setback.
To build there.
And it caused somebody hardship at some point along the way.
One thing that
Give up the land
I'm
in
considering
lieu of taxes.
too is that, like, I know we have to treat every case differently,
Mhm.
yet we don't wanna set a precedent. It's one of those things that's like, you can't let,
Well, you're not setting a precedent.
no, I know,
Our
but,
thing here is
That's a
that
significant-
we've listened to a lot of cases, and I'll be honest with you, we've done worse.
Yeah.
Okay? I'm just saying.
okay.
But the truth of the matter is even if we approve where the house is gonna sit in the septic system,
Mm-hmm.
you still gotta go to conservation. This thing might just be squashed right there. That's a hurdle that the
Good.
applicant has taken. But I wanna make sure whatever that he submits into a set of drawings, if it does pass, we'll just say, if it did,
Mm-hmm.
that he is putting that septic system at grade on the corner. It's not gonna be an optical so that the water runs onto the street, and do everything possible.
Well, that would be the building inspector.
You'd have to, but we could
Right.
put a condition on that, that would be something you'd have to have for elevation.
I mean, but that's, we would do that anyway, though, I mean, that's,
I wouldn't
wouldn't that be
think so.
part of?
No?
It's not a condition that concerns this board. Not that
Well,
safety and water
That's-
doesn't
that's
concern
what
the
I-
board,
Yeah, that's what I
but,
was looking at, safety on the corner,
yeah,
you know, I just wanna make sure we don't have an elevated septic system.
right,
Then we have the water issue and everything's back to where, why did we pass that?
right.
That's all I'm saying. I mean, if that's not what this board listens to, I'm okay with it too.
No, I
But
know, I mean,
I'm not saying that I'll approve it, I'm just saying that
Well, you also have to remember, you're not taking a left out of that street.
what is it?
You're not taking a left out of that street, because that's the one way.
Yep.
So
No.
everyone coming out of that
Takes a
road is
right,
taking a
Takes a
right.
yeah.
And then everyone going that way has to stop anyways to take the left.
Yeah, but you don't want a stone wall on the side.
Right, yeah, I mean, not a stone wall, but I was saying, just take that in consideration too.
It was the topography of the land was actually helpful for the septic system that way,
Mhm.
you know, yeah.
no, I definitely don't question the owner of or the engineer to doing their due diligence of figuring out, is there any other spot we can put it, but there really isn't.
No.
There's literally no other option. So now it's just a matter of, are we okay with that being the case, that there's no other option?
Where's his application?
The application, yeah, it'll be at the,
So basically the 55 setback is gonna be 37.
37.
And that was the only thing that came in front of us
Mhm.
for.
That's what he's here for.
mm-hmm.
Say how many square feet the lot is?
How many what?
The lot is 34,848 square feet.
Just shy of that, so he's looking for relief of that.
34,000?
Yeah, the
Yeah,
whole lot.
it's a
35,000.
request to waive,
Well, yeah,
waive setbacks and.
So it is 35,000.
It's, no, it's 34, the actual is 34,848 square feet.
On here, it has 35,540, because he would have to sought relief for under 35,000.
That's what I was saying, it's not on here, that's why I was questioning it.
So what's this, so
Is
So
it
this is, well, this is just from,
that's just an assessment?
yeah,
This has it as 35,000,
Is it 35,000 even?
35,040, 540.
It's tough for me, but. I mean, whenever I make my decisions, safety, obviously, and butters, things that I take into great consideration.
Well, like you listened to
No,
the
he just
butters, it
wants-
was all water.
Yeah,
relief
that's
from
what I'm saying,
wetlands,
so, I
setbacks,
mean,
and shape.
And would this one?
And like I say,
This is from.
I think the
Elm
biggest hurdle is
MLS.
gonna be
So
conservation.
it's multi-listings,
Right.
and it's basically
They might
Bristol
just say
County
go away.
Right,
records.
but how accurate is it?
It's Bristol County records, so I don't
Yeah.
know. I would hope it's.
I would imagine it's pretty accurate.
Oh, they couldn't get us to geomap correctly.
Right.
I'm not
Yeah.
gonna go with that one.
all right, guys,
True.
So is that a concern now? I mean, we have two different square footages.
Well,
One's
he had
under,
in front
one's
of
under
us for-
35,000, the other one's over 35,000?
Right, because you gotta have 35,000 square feet.
Right.
To build, have a lot.
But when you this is surveyed though, correct? Yeah, so I would probably go with
And the thing is that if he was asking for relief of square footage,
this. Right, he's not
It's
asking
not
for
on his
anything over
application.
there.
No, I'm just curious. I didn't
no,
know.
nothing against the state's record, but if that was surveyed by an engineer, I mean, that's.
Yeah.
Anything else, guys?
I'll make a decision.
Do I have a motion to either approve or deny case for 0 Brook Street?
What you do is you make a motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
And if nobody seconds it, then it's denied.
no way, covers everybody.
Okay,
I did that before, Zach.
I know.
Okay. We yelled at.
Okay.
So you got a motion on the floor to
I
approve?
have a motion to approve the case for 0 Brook Street.
No,
Do I have a second?
Is there a second?
We have to second it, right?
If,
If we're gonna pass it.
Right. Well, somebody can second it, but then you have to vote. And if it's not a
it
unanimous
has to be
decision.
unanimous, so when I
That's
say all in
right.
favor, if someone
Mr.
says no, I'm
Chairman,
not.
I'll second the motion.
Any discussion?
So are we putting in that we're not putting in any stipulation at all, we're just voting right on?
No, anything that the building inspector that we were just talking about, that's
Okay.
what he does anyway, you know what I mean?
Okay.
And like I said, they have to go before conservation committee anyway, so that's
Right.
not anything that we have to put into our.
All right, and
into-
so in regards to the septic and all that, that goes through the building inspector?
Right.
Yep,
When it's signed?
Board of Health.
Okay,
Yeah.
and the health board?
correct.
Okay.
Excuse me, do the abutters have anything to say on this? No?
They would have had a say last meeting.
I was here last meeting, now I'm here again.
Right. No, the public input is closed.
Ah, but I thought you
Yeah.
asked.
Yeah.
Abutters.
What we did is, all your comments that you had made, we put
Yeah,
into
they're-
writing we
I
have.
just want you folks to know, there's no home that's within 20 feet of the street on Brook Street.
It's just a motion. Right now, it's a motion. If nobody else, we gotta go through the process.
And I went to conservation too, and they told me to come back, I went there last Wednesday. And they said they're not gonna hear that case right now, because I'm understanding from you that it's gonna be a mail out, actually.
What your concerns are is mostly the conservation setup.
Yes,
What I'm concerned with you, I really shouldn't be talking to, but I'm just gonna explain it to you, is the water setbacks, how the water's gonna defer to your land, with the topography of the property.
Which,
That's what something we're just talking about now.
if you know, I mean, it's basically sand, the ground.
Okay,
So
yeah,
water
I'm
comes
sorry,
out
we
and
can't discuss anything else, I'm
I
sorry.
understand.
So you get a motion on the floor, you get a second, so, all
Is
in
there,
favor?
is there any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Okay, so Zero Brook Street is passed. You're all set?
You did the motion in the second?
Yes.
Now, technically, you should
Yep.
give Nicole the reasons why you voted yes, because she has to write a decision, or Marguerite writes a decision, she can't guess at what you said.
Yep,
Thank
sure.
you.
Yep, so I'll go first. I'll say my initial concern was it not fitting in with the characteristic of the neighborhood. Once I knew that the water runoff wouldn't be an issue, but considering that, you know, everyone's concern was the runoff and not so much the characteristic of the neighborhood, and that's just something that I take into consideration more than anything else, and no abutters seem to have an issue with that. It's not my neighborhood. So that's my reasoning. Greg?
Reason why I said for it is due to the topography of the land, the way the septic system is going to be set onto the property, the water runoff being diverted from the road, and the concern of bringing all the water away from the abutters as most as possible they could. Obviously, like you stated, there was no anybody in the record that stated anything about how the house was going to look on the property. During our last meeting, it was all about the water setbacks, conservation situations. It had nothing to do with us. On that particular case, it's the reason why I said yes.
And Michelle?
I mean, I was just really more concerned with the setback in regards to the road, and I think that I don't think it's going to it's gonna be a hindrance, in my opinion. Just the way the house is going to be shaped, I don't think it's going to be, any deterrent in driving or anything like that.
Okay. Was that good enough? Need anything else? Good? Alright, so moving along. Review, discuss, and act moving meeting location and or meeting day to the new office and other departments' meeting schedules. So, those of you who don't know on this board, Nicole's office is currently downstairs. Obviously you guys know that. It's going to be in the basement of original town hall, not the old town hall.
I'm over there now.
Right, she's there now. And she's in a temporary location in that office, but she'll be permanently there once the new
So you're in the
workplace.
downstairs part? Yeah, okay.
Yes, so,
We're planning to-
in my opinion, it's not really anything that we need to vote on per se. The only thing would be the meeting day. I would like to see the location to be there now. I know we've been bouncing around, but with her office being, there, there's no need for us to have our meetings here when she has to log all her stuff back and forth, or if we have to run downstairs to get any kind of information, or, I know, it really doesn't happen, but during the meeting we need to go run out and print something or something, but, I don't feel like it's in anyone's best interest to keep the meetings here.
We can always reserve this for larger
Yeah, I mean-
meetings that we think is gonna be heavily attended, but it makes more sense to keep the office in the meetings in close
I
proximity.
mean, like I said, it's not anything that we need to discuss, right? I mean, if anything, it's going to affect Nicole.
I'm still wondering why you got moved over here. Now they're moving you back over there.
Well, I got a question too, right, after
It's-
that question is, you're in the sewer department's office too?
No, she's with Carrie
Or
here.
she's on the other side? Okay.
Land development is what they're.
That's why, to answer your question, Jason, that's why, because the way that offices are being rearranged, it makes more sense for her to be with land, I'm sorry, what do you call it?
Land planning.
Land planning, which makes sense. Like I said, this is gonna affect you more than anybody else, so.
May I address the board?
Yeah.
Okay, so we can't just choose to be here. There's other boards that meet here, so I'm just gonna run through the schedule. So we're on the third Wednesday of the month. The Board of Health meets here the second and the fourth Wednesday, here in the upper level.
And they meet at 6, correct?
Correct. And we have had problems with, if they have longer cases, running over and all that. Planning meets over there, the first and third Wednesday at 6 p.m. and the same thing, running over potentially. And Concom meets over there the second Wednesday. So our options are
Fourth
None.
Wednesday.
It's either,
fourth Wednesday.
That would have been
blah, blah,
easier,
blah.
just say fourth Wednesday.
right,
I know why. The fourth Wednesday over there, or the first and third here.
I mean,
It don't matter to me.
I mean, well, like I said, we didn't need to vote on terms of where our meetings are. It's more of moving the meeting day that affects everybody, or could potentially affect everybody.
I
Wednesdays
want to
are
ask you a
Christmas.
question. Do you have anything for next month's meeting already scheduled for the third Wednesday coming up?
We are not meeting in September.
So
I was going to say that.
that's all set. Okay, so.
Correct, since we didn't get the meeting off in August like we usually do. Nicole is taking a very awesome vacation that I'm jealous of in September, so she'll be gone for if we were to have a regular meeting, she'd be gone for that, which isn't a concern. It's more the fact that she'll be out of the office for 2 weeks. But we have had something come forward. They already know that we're not meeting in September, that we're meeting in October.
Okay.
And they noticed with that. As far as I know, there's nothing else besides from that.
Well,
I just,
we do
just,
have one case.
yeah, you.
We do have one case in October.
Right.
Already set up. I haven't sent out the notices yet because we need to figure out where we're
This
gonna be
date,
and
yeah,
what
yeah.
day, so.
That's all I was concerned. I don't care.
Fourth Wednesday over there is fine with me.
Yeah, 4th is fine with me too. I don't really think we need to make a vote on it. I mean,
No,
it's,
no.
but it's something that we definitely need to discuss.
So now we're moving to fourth Wednesdays. of
4th
every-
Wednesday in the,
And that's gonna be on our website?
Every month.
Yes,
Alright.
yes, it will be updated.
so yeah, pretty much we're sticking with our usual meeting day, but here,
Starting October.
October 23rd.
Can't do it? No, I'm just kidding.
So, beat me to it, I can't do it.
wait,
Close to Halloween.
can you actually not do it?
No, I can do it, yeah.
So can you, so you're both kidding.
Yeah, we're
So just make things more confusing.
You start on Tuesdays, man. I'm all over
Okay, alright. So, moving along, to the approval of the minutes. Do I have a motion to approve the meeting minutes for May 22nd's regular meeting?
So moved.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Same, do I have a motion to approve the meeting minutes for July 17th, regular meeting minutes?
So moved.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. And any discussion, do I have a motion to approve the meeting minutes for August 14th, Strawberry Fields special meeting?
So moved.
Any discussion? All in favor? Okay, so, moving on to authorized expenditures. The payroll was $2,459.53. Bills paid was $50.75. And then you guys, I don't know if you guys have this all in your paper, I'd have it on mine, the encumbered, the police detail was $197.36. Before I discuss something about the police detail, do I have a motion to approve those?
Motion to.
One at a time, please.
Oh, I'm sorry, I thought in the past we've done it separately,
We have done it separately.
it's all been separate, okay, I thought we did, no, that's
So
nothing.
motion to approve payroll.
Yep, do I have a motion to approve the payroll,
The amount of,
The
2,000,
amount of $2,459.53.
is there a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? All's in favor? Aye. And then do I have a motion to approve the bills paid for the 5075 as well as the encumbered police detail 197.36?
So moved.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. So going along,
So moved.
Did you say so moved?
going along with the police detail, this is more of a question directed to Peter and Greg. So I automatically had one for the first meeting. I did not know the kind of turnout it was going to be. I didn't want to risk getting there and having the worst case scenario, and oh my god, we have all these people here, I don't have a detail, so I got one. First meeting was a pretty considerably lower turnout than what we thought. Based on what I was hearing around town, I thought that this Wednesday was going to be packed. So
As did I.
So
Seen on the
I
Facebook channel.
got a detail thinking this could be
Just glad you
this could be a big crowd. And then obviously it wasn't that much bigger. So, in my opinion, I know it's my decision, but I just kind of wanted your feedback. I don't see the need of getting the detail again.
No, we're not talking nasty people. Or
I know.
It's not gonna be
And if it does get out of
I just
control, we
remember
can ask
being-
them to leave, and then we just make
I
the
just
call.
remember being on,
One deal.
I mean, not that I was on the 40B, but at old 40B meetings in which there was a detail there. Granted, that room was considerably smaller.
Right.
I don't know if we used to meet in the selectmen's meeting room for those 40Bs. Because it was bigger than our meeting room. So that's why I got a detail, just because from
Yeah.
what, and I, again, would rather do that than not have it and be like,
Honestly, I thought it was the right call, and as you said, I was hearing a lot of stuff, and
Right.
talking to a lot of people, and they actually had a meeting at the.
we can't, yeah, we
Crestwood.
can't discuss
Yeah,
it
but-
much more, but yes.
Yeah, so they,
That's why I got it the second time, but after the second time I thought, alright, I'm not doing it a third.
That's fine.
I know it's, again, it's
You
I,
can discuss it.
but what do you
You're
guys
not talking
think?
about the case, you're just talking about
Okay,
the groups that we thought, there could have been an issue, there wasn't.
Social media made it feel like we were.
Right.
yeah,
which, I mean, again, I was just playing the ultra safe side.
I thought it was.
So, but I don't think, I mean, in my opinion, I'm not asking,
So say after the, walkthrough, like everybody goes there, and then there's anything heated there, can you make a decision then in regards to having a detail for the next?
So one thing that did not know until the police, or it was Nicole, you told me that we can get a detail like the night of. So I was going to do that the night of for this past Wednesday, but based on what I was hearing, I thought, I don't want to be there with 2 minutes to the meeting starts thinking, I should call a police detail.
Yeah.
So, God forbid in the future, if we do feel like we do need one, we can call one literally minutes before. I just did it ahead of time this time because I thought it was going to be a bigger turnout. So, to answer your question, yes, that is something that we can do. So it's not like, hey, it's
Tradition has it that the 40B attendance dwindles down to nothing.
as the meetings go
As
on.
meetings go on, and less information comes out. Sometimes you're lucky to get one person. I think it's still a new meeting, and the prospects of there being a new plan submitted kept the people coming, but I see it going just the way of every other 40B, where eventually,
I mean, it's essentially, well, it's not essentially the same people, I shouldn't say that, but the meeting butters, but.
Yeah.
I mean, if they change the plans, there might be more people.
Oh,
Or like,
Well, that's what this
I mean,
session's for.
regardless of when it would be, it could be completely different, so.
If
Let's
you're gonna,
see what they got.
So you guys don't think that right now I need to worry about in the future getting one, just wait until if I, in the last minute?
Like I said-
It's getting out of control.
Yeah, well, for sure.
and if certain people show up and start talking about other things again.
Okay, so I just wanted to run that by. Nicole, you
Yes, that one.
do you have enough to write the decision for the first vote we took?
I know, Marguerite kept reminding me that we need to do that, and I forgot that, so.
Done.
that's why we're done with the lakes this time.
No,
Oh,
2022 Somerset.
So there was a talk about the barn getting 3 foot cut off, so it wasn't on the property, and proposed drywall tie-in and seen on the plan.
There was a house there to begin with. No, it's not like we're putting something where something shouldn't
It
be.
just says that the addresses were concerned. So if you would like to
I
go
mean,
through.
does anybody have anything
So-
different than what's?
It's not for me, it's for the
Greg,
voting members to
and
give you
Michelle.
the reason why they vote a certain way.
Yes.
So the one thing that I just added besides the barn and
The fence, I did it because of the barn and the fence being modified to fit within the property lines. And the drywall issue was being addressed. And, in regards to the abutter of 1950, there didn't seem to be any issue with whose name might be on that property.
well, I guess I did kind of phrase that kind of awkwardly when I was explaining it. It was more the fact that it doesn't matter who it was. It was the point that that we did not notify. Granted, we didn't know who it was.
If it was you, if you owned it or a member of this board, then you'd have an issue.
Right.
Oh no, right,
But
right.
being though it's not a member of the board.
No, it was a matter of that, like, we didn't notify the person, so that
Right.
if we had voted on a case that an abutter was not notified, that
Could be serious trouble.
Technically, it bounced back to me.
right. So we did notify them.
Right.
We need an effort.
All right, so my reason for that piece of property is after the concerns of the, listening to the stormwater from Jim Aguirre was the dry well sump. That was already on a set of drawings submitted to the board, and I was comfortable with that. Also the setbacks for the garage not protruding onto the butter's property, being cut off, and it once already having a house on it. And all the abutters that were there were mainly concerned, from what I understood from the last time, is they didn't want to just have a grass field. There was a house.
Right.
I don't believe there was an abutter against it.
Yeah, that kind of reminds me of the case.
Am I allowed to talk about that case now?
Yeah,
Like,
sure.
okay.
Should we,
So my question being, if I was voting on it, but that he knowingly built, or knowingly bought an unbuildable lot.
Oh,
We're
wait,
talking
I'm sorry.
oh, no, we're
Oh,
talking
we're
about, we're talking about 2000.
Somerset, no,
Yeah.
sorry.
I don't know, but I know what you mean. Go ahead.
Yeah, so, but before I
Oh, he's
have,
gonna throw his.
Yeah,
so,
sorry.
everything that Greg said, and then I was gonna add the fact that there was a lot there, building there to begin with, and not to compare cases, but I remember there's a case on, I think it was Center Street, with the two brothers who were contractors, and the residents were actually for it, because they were like, we want the area cleaned up. So that's one
Well,
thing,
that's because they threatened to put a strip club there.
Mhm.
then we're not talking about the same thing then.
No, no.
No.
Center Street.
No,
I'm not putting that in.
Yeah, well, hey, we designated
No, so,
spots for those.
so what I was getting at was that the residents were, if anything's gonna clean up the area, so that's one thing that, obviously, there aren't a lot of instances in which the zoning board has any kind of role or say into how the town is maintained in terms of, if things don't come before us, but we have a chance to clean something up, so. that's
Okay,
one
so let
thing.
me just read this back to you. So Zach, we made an effort to notify the 1950. We agreed with everything Greg said, which was the stormwater issues weren't really ours, and the dry well was conforming. The garage cut off, and the fence cut off, brought it off of that back land, and there was more abutters concerned with grass, an empty grass field.
Right.
And you also mentioned that the area would be cleaned up as a result, and that there was a already existing building.
Correct, yep.
And Michelle, you said that you were concerned with the barn and the fence being modified, and now that it's coming off that land, you're okay with it. The dry well was addressed, the abutters in 1950 Somerset, that issue is.
they were notified, you got the proof, so it just wasn't ever.
I mean, that's what, if you guys sorry, you can put it in the packet, so there's literally,
Even though the reason on the envelope is a little weird, what the postal service said, but nobody's claiming.
I'm not a postman, so I can't tell you. Okay, so, great, Jason, did you have anything you wanted to say before we adjourn?
No, Somerset, not in Somerset.
That's fine, so she's all set for that, so
So-
now, we're still in public input, so
Yeah,
so.
and I guess my whole thing was, Mr. Roderick, right? Roderick,
Yeah.
they knowingly bought an unbuildable lot. Are we setting a precedent by allowing people to buy those unbuildable lots and just assuming that they're gonna get a variance to build a house?
Well,
That was my biggest concern, that was my biggest snafu with that whole thing. I wasn't a voting member, which is fine.
And that's one thing that, like, when I was starting to talk about that was, even when I first came on the board, I was always confused with like, we treat every case differently, we don't compare cases, and we don't want to set a precedent. It's
Yeah.
like, well, if we treat every case differently, how can we even set precedents? And you know what I mean? Because one, on the surface, I'm sure, like, you know what I mean? It's like we're setting a precedent, but if we treat
My
every case differently,
whole thing is, if I don't do my proper due diligence at work and I screw something up, I'm on the hook for it.
You own it.
What's
You
that?
You own it.
Yeah, I own it, right. In my opinion, we're letting him off the hook for not doing proper due diligence and buying an unbuildable lot.
This is where I disagree, and I'm gonna tell you why I
That's fine,
disagree.
that's fine.
Mr. Roderick went there and purchased the land from the town of Dayton, which someone had relieved because they were told it was a non-buildable lot.
do we?
Let me finish. Was told it was a non-buildable lot. Mr. Roderick hired an engineer and determined that it could be a possible buildable lot.
Keyword possible.
Possible.
Mhm.
So at that point, that was where he took the chance. It was totally up to him, or it would have been totally up to you. That would be like me going to you and say, hey, your land's worth nothing. Why don't you just give it to me for $15? And you'd be like, all right, I can't build it, no problem. And I go hire Zach 3 houses there. But in his particular case, he took the chance. I'm not saying the due diligence, but every piece of property in my eyes was always enforced here, and to me, was every piece of property is its own entity. You can't look at this and say that's the same as that, because it's not. This one's mine, that one's yours. Every piece of property could have the same square box, but it could be closer to a piece of property, a butter line. Those are the things that I was always precedent to me, Joe, Peter. Those are the type of things that I'm just stating that. I understand, because I feel the same way sometimes. I look at certain things, why would he even come in front of us? But then it's been brought to my attention, you can't talk about conservation, you can't do this, you
I know.
can't do it. As much as I'm looking at it, I'm like, I know this is never gonna,
Well,
but it's
I
our
mean, it's gonna
house.
be a little small house, but you know what's gonna remind me of is the house on William Street. That's bright yellow.
It's tiny.
Yeah.
oh, yeah,
It's
yeah.
not more, but it's tiny.
When that first went in, did not know the
I'm
house.
looking at it, I'm like, what is that?
I kinda like that house, actually.
I mean, it's very cute, but like, this is what this house is
I think
gonna
I
look
brush
like.
my teeth, cook my food, and go to bed at the same time.
Greg, you hit on the head when you said that every property is different, even though they might be the same.
Right.
What Joe always taught me, Joe Pacheco, was obviously the number one is what does it do to the neighborhood?
Yeah.
But number two is, can they win on appeal? And what would happen is, if we said no, he was definitely going to appeal.
And he would've got it.
And we would have had to decide as a board, we're gonna spend the money to fight this? For what amounted to was 15 to 20 feet tops of a setback. In reality, yes, Greg, I think you said it, we've allowed worse, and we have, but it's a lousy rule of thumb to use because it's a different neighborhood that we allow worse.
Right.
And I go back to my own neighborhood where we all have 250 feet, 300 feet, 400 feet of frontage.
Wait, hang on.
When somebody came in and wanted something with 15 feet, well, we could have said, well, we've allowed 15 feet before. In reality, we might have, but we never did for that neighborhood where everything is 250, 300, 400 feet. And,
I mean, I guess you can say the same thing for criminal law. I mean, any law, so just because someone did the same thing doesn't mean the circumstances are all the same.
So
Well, my lot looks like Italy.
What?
They all look like the Buddha.
Yeah.
Like I
I
said,
literally am in my neighbor's, my front yard is in my neighbor's driveway.
speed of the devil.
here he is.
All right, so is there anything else to discuss? Okay, so I'll make a motion that we adjourn the meeting at 8:02.
I'll second that motion.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye.
See ya.
Sorry, sir, public input just ended.
One variance to this